Thomas here with Much Props. Going to give you another how-to video. A few weeks ago, I made the announcement that I bought a Glowforge and have been playing around with it for a little bit. And of course, I do one of the stereotypical things that most men do when they get new toys. I cut a bunch of weapons. I downloaded these just simple little SVG files from a Google search, and I thought, yeah, these are cool, but I think I can do better. So today I am going to design my own Cyberpunk style dagger using my Glowforge, cutting it out of multiple types of material, prototyping it, all that stuff, and I'm going to take you along with every step of the way to show you how I figured it out. So, today we're building a Cyberpunk dagger. Let's get to building. To get started, I decided to keep my design program simple. Yes, I am drawing in Microsoft Paint. I have Vector, Pixlr, Krita, Inkscape, and a few other drawing programs. I just wanted to show that you don't need a fancy program in order to make a cool design. I build up a silhouette of my dagger using some random shapes, piecing it together as I go. I start with the middle layer, get it into the shape I want, then copy and paste to edit the overlay and the handle later. Once done, I save it, then use a free online website. You can search for SVG converters. That stands for Scalable Vector Graphic, and it's the format that my Glowforge accepts for cutting. To save on material, I cut out my test pieces in cardboard first, prototyping parts to get things how I wanted without wasting on more expensive materials to figure out if it fits and what I need to adjust. With all the stuff I order on Amazon, I stay stocked with free cardboard. The Glowforge slices through it like it's nothing. The community forum that they have also has loads of help, like how to set the laser powers to specific materials. For material that doesn't weigh much and is not perfectly flat, you can put down these little pins, which I cut using the laser cutter. They push down into the holes in the crumb tray and hold the material down. I pulled out the parts and glued them together. The cuts are very clean. This gives me a good idea of how the end result will look. I didn't put the circuit board on here just to save time, and I wasn't sure if it was going to burn the cardboard up. So now let's move on to a more solid material now that everything is fine-tuned. I cut out another one, but with draft board, which is kind of like MDF. Just so you don't feel cheated, I'll show you the glue up this time. Glowforge material can be a little bit expensive, but they come pre-taped to prevent charring, have QR codes that allow the machine to auto-adjust its settings to the material, and cut to fit perfectly in the machine. I superglued this one together and decided I might as well paint it up. I sprayed down some Rust-Oleum primer to seal the draft board, then give it a black base coat of spray paint to ready the surface for detailing. To keep the paint job on this prototype simple, I taped off the blade with some painter's tape and dry brushed on some copper rub and buff with an old chip brush. Now that this one is done, it's time to move on to some better materials for the final versions. I bought a stack full of Glowforge plywoods and acrylics that they offer on their website. I decided to make it out of 3 different materials: a walnut plywood, a black acrylic, and a clear fluorescent pink acrylic. The machine is powered on and the material is loaded in. The proof cut fits snug into the metal tray. Now it's time to go to my computer and upload the files to cut. Glowforge's software is web-based, so I create a new project and upload my image. Notice there are several versions of the Dagger. It took me a few tries to get it just right. When the image is imported, you'll notice 2 of the pieces are gray. This machine is telling me that it doesn't fit on the build space. I almost resized just the top and then realized, oh, they all kind of have to line up together, so I select all of them together and then shrink them to fit the space. Then I pull in the circuit board engraving design that I made separately and put the settings on it, position it on the blade, and get ready to cut. Time to hit the glowing button. I find myself sticking my face in front of it like it's a TV to watch a show. It engraves the material so smoothly. I have a little bit of scraps left over from this build and ended up making some Much Props keychains out of the little pieces. This also gives me an excuse to test out glues and things like that to see if things will cloud up or not adhere well to each other. cut out the same design into the other two sets of materials. For the blades of these, I had to flip them over to engrave the other side because they're not see-through like the fluorescent is. Altogether, it took about 2 hours to intricately cut out 3 sets of dagger pieces. For glue up, I just super glued them. I wasn't sure if it was going to haze over the clear fluorescent acrylic, so I tested it on those keychains I mentioned earlier. As long as I stay away from the edges, it seemed to work just fine. I really like the contrast between the materials and the colors, and with that fluorescent pink, it really does kind of look orange when it's up against other materials. The side view of the layers is my favorite part, seeing them stacked together. I could definitely have hand cut this out of foam or cardboard using the same pattern, but it probably would have taken me forever, and I know I wouldn't have had it nearly as clean an edge as what this machine's able to do. And we are finished. Here is the prototype. This is the one that I first cut out. After a few trials and errors, I finally got it to where I wanted to. I didn't put in the circuit board design there because I wanted to save a little bit of time, because it was just a prototype and it's cut out of cardboard, which is awesome. With machines like this, you can kind of use cheaper materials to figure out what exactly you want. So the cardboard worked out well, so then I moved up to the proof grade, basically particle board type material, and then I ended up painting it up instead of just leaving it as its raw form. So this technically would function as its own weapon by itself. I did like the paint job, but then again, I really like it with the mixed materials, the clear acrylics, the wood, and then the black opaque ones. I really love the way that these turned out, and I thought I would probably like the wooden blade the least, and actually I think it may be my favorite of the three, although the fluorescent pink, which looks orange for some reason, I'm really digging this one too. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and find that some of these CNC laser cutting videos are useful, helpful, or at least cool to watch. I don't intend on making this a very common thing unless it's something that y'all like seeing. I liked messing around with it, and I will for sure let you have the files for it if you want to cut your own out. Yeah. Maybe you will try and make a Cyberpunk dagger yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to take various materials, prototype them, learn new programs, and put it all together in some awesome form or fashion. Maybe. Maybe you'll get some. Yay! And inevitably, someone's going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. They're all weapons, but the most deadliest has to be the cardboard, so prepare yourself, villain. Ha! 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 Thanks again to my Patreon members for supporting the channel. If you want to be like these awesome people, please consider joining and help me grow a bigger, better community.